Hey y'all, it's Shay Cherie. Today I am making waist beads with a barrel clasp and a bead spinner. Let's make it. You'll need a bead spinner, manual or electric, filled with 11 OC beads, a barrel clasp, two 15 OC beads, the beads you would like for your pattern, scissors, a big curved beading needle, and also I'm using fishing line as my string. If you've never used a curved beading needle before, it does have an opening in the middle, and you can use that to thread whatever you're using for your string.
Now for our bead spinner, when you put your curved needle in, you kind of want to have it at an angle and curved up so that it picks up beads when you're spinning. And you also want to spin in the opposite direction that your hook is going. So my hook is facing this way, I want to spin this way. See, as you spin, pick up some beads, and feed those on. You may come across a bead that is too small to fit over your thread, so if that's the case, you just take it off, set it to the side, and then we'll string them on again. Okay, and then for my beading pattern, I'm going to have about 6 inches of these 11 OC beads before I start my pattern. 6 inches here, and this is what my pattern is going to be in between beads.
I rethread the needle and go back in for the next round of seed beads. You actually don't even have to remove the needle to put on your pattern beads. Why I was doing that, I don't know. Ignore that for the rest of the video. You can leave your needle on. If you're going to be getting into making waist beads on a regular basis, I would strongly suggest you getting a bead spinner. They do have the electric ones. As you can see, I have a manual one. Either way, it saves you from stringing on all these tiny seed beads one by one. Get a bead spinner. This is how the pattern is looking so far. I'm going to go ahead and finish stringing the rest of my beads and then come back and show you how to attach the clasp.
I am finished stringing my beads, and I've left enough tail at the end of each string to go ahead and tie my clasp onto it. So I'm going to take the barrel clasp, and I'm actually going to cut off the wires on the ends. We don't need that part. And then open it up just to get the ends of that out. Okay, throw that away. Okay, so actually I'm going to, before I put the clasp on, I'm going to put a spacer bead on each end, just so I can have room to hide the knot. Do I want to use these, or do I want to use these? I'm going to use the ball. Okay, so I'm going to put a spacer bead onto each end. So then I'm going to take the male end, thread my fire line through. I'm going to take one of the 15 C beads, thread that through. So we've got clasp C bead. So I'm going to take the other end and feed it back through the barrel clasp. See, I have a loop here. See if you can see it. And just pull that tight. So from here, I'm just going to make a knot. And also, you have the option to use glue. I use some clear nail polish and just dab a little bit on the knot. Strings tight. Your spacer bead, you pull that all the way to your clasp, and that's going to hide the knot you just made. And then you can feed the tail through some of the seed beads. About that much, and then I will cut off the excess fishing line. And move all the beads to that end. Okay, so got one end attached. So we've got our spacer bead on this end. So we're going to feed our string through the female end. Again, I'm just going to use 15 C beads, one. Going to slide my clasp all the way down, and then hold that tight, and then slide your 15 C bead down as well. Before you go all the way in, you want to feed back through. So I'm going to hold this bead for a minute, pull tight. I want to get as close to these little space as possible. All right, hold that all the way in. I'm going to tie a knot around the end here. And it's okay to have a little bit of space because you're going to have a little bit of wiggle room for when the person is wearing it. Again, I'm going to add a small dab of nail polish, secure the knot. the end, the long tail, feed it back through the spacer bead. That tight. And then I'm going to cut a little bit of this off. Okay, and then feed some of this back through seed beads. Cut off that excess. Okay, and waist beads are good to go. And then clasp, you can just secure that on.
Alrighty, that is how I make my waist beads. Thank you for watching this far. If you have any questions about the process, please let me know in the comments below. Go ahead and like and share the video, and you can subscribe for more creative content. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.